Tonight on KGW News, the state squares off against the Trump administration. With new evidence, National Guard troops were briefly deployed, defying a judge's order. Plus,
this administration is working hard to divide us, painting immigrants as animals.
How the family of a Hillsboro grandfather detained by ICE says they're struggling to get even the simplest of answers. Then, deja vu for an East County bridge that seems to be a trouble spot.
My husband called me. He goes, "The Stark Street Bridge is closed again."
And later, 100 days out from the Winter Games with the Vancouver ice maker headed to Italy.
He was like, "Hey, so we have this thing called the Olympics. Do you want to go?"
How this research engineer ended up with an Olympic-size opportunity. But first, two breaking news and two separate crashes in northeast Portland that have left two people dead. In the first, authorities say a pedestrian was hit by a car near the Gateway Transit Center just before 8 this evening. Officers say that woman was pronounced dead at the scene and the driver is cooperating. Parts of Northeast 102nd remain closed as police investigate. And not far from there, a cyclist has died following another crash about a mile away. Police say this was just before 6:30 on Northeast Gleason and 112th. First responders provided emergency care, but the cyclist did not survive. Authorities say in this case, the driver also remained at the scene. Let's take you to South Portland now for a live look at the ICE facility at the center of the legal battle over the National Guard. Right now, you can see small groups of what we presume are protesters on both sides of the road there, with some federal personnel on the second floor roof of the building overlooking the street. Today, a trial got underway in federal court with the state of Oregon looking to turn a temporary restraining order, one that bars the Trump administration from sending in troops, into something more permanent. And perhaps the most startling revelation out of day one, that 9 National Guard troops were deployed to this very building for one afternoon and evening early this month that appears in direct violation of the judge's order. Kyle Boshi kicks us off.
Moments before trial, a federal judge raised questions about new evidence, which indicated the Oregon National Guard had briefly been on the ground at the ICE office just hours after she issued a restraining order blocking their deployment. The judge told Trump administration lawyers, "We'll discuss later whether that's contempt." Day one of the high-stakes trial between the state of Oregon and the Trump administration started with local police on the witness stand. Portland police testified they have the situation under control outside the ICE facility in South Portland. For months, a small group of demonstrators have gathered outside the federal immigration office, occasionally clashing with federal officers. The state of Oregon, California, and city of Portland are suing the Trump administration, arguing President Trump overstepped his authority by deploying National Guard troops. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield.
This is a systematic attempt by the president to really attack pillars of our democracy.
The feds argue the president has the right to deploy federalized troops, and federal officers need help protecting the ICE building. They're stretched thin. The state of Oregon is seeking a permanent injunction blocking the deployment of troops. Willamette University law professor Laura Appelman explains the case has broad implications on presidential power and state sovereignty.
This is, I think, both very much a Portland matter, but also a larger question of when can the president send National Guard troops to help protect ICE?
Whatever the outcome of this case, legal experts say it will likely be appealed. Kyle Boshi, KGW News.
Well, let's bring in Alma McCarty now, live near the ICE building. And Alma, as the trial got underway, you went to take the temperature of the protests on the ground tonight. What'd you find?
Yeah, David, while the courts grapple with the issue of whether or not to send federalized troops down here to the ICE facility, this is the scene on the ground this evening. Really just, like you mentioned, a small group of people really on either side of the road. Really not too much noise or too much disruption happening outside of the ICE facility this evening. And earlier today, protesters once again leaned into what makes Portland weird. While a DJ sets up speakers outside Portland's ICE facility.
Liberty and freedom, a government that serves the people, not a people that are subservient to the government.
Vincent Hawkins assembles small American flags to hand out to the small crowd.
It feels like democracy itself is under threat. It really is.
It's what's driven him to keep coming back here week after week.
This is a stage. We know it. The guys in uniform up on the roof know that this is a stage. They're trying to produce propaganda. They're trying to produce content that says Portland's full of criminals.
To combat that narrative,
The bravest form of whimsy you'll ever see.
this evening, demonstrators dance.
I know it sounds cliche, but love does always win.
Wednesday's crew, neither large nor violent, certainly showed passion. From the inflatable costumes, a new protest staple, to an appearance by a llama.
And 99% of the time down here, it is still whimsical and fun. And that's what we're about, is community and connecting, because through that we can, become more resilient.
That was incredible!
Dance protests, the idea to dance, to show feelings, to represent a cause, that is not new at all. It is global. It seeps into every culture across ages, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and for perspective, according to Portland police, there were no arrests last night, no arrests the night prior. There were 2 arrests on Sunday and 3 on Saturday. Again, things are relatively calm out here at the ICE facility in South Portland. David, back to you.
Oh, thanks, Alma. Appreciate the context and the update there. Well, speaking of immigration enforcement, in another update, family and friends of a Hillsboro grandfather detained earlier this month by federal agents rallied to demand his release. According to family, Victor Cruz was detained even though he had the legal right to live and work in the country. They add that agents appear to be looking for another man with the same name, one with a criminal background.
This administration is working hard to divide us, painting immigrants as animals, lying and saying they're only detaining criminals, but we have seen that's not true.
So many people have green cards and have been in America for years. They are sad and they don't understand. They are not criminals.
Cruz is currently being held in Tacoma. We reached out to Homeland Security, which did not answer questions or provide any clarity about his case. We'll stay with KGW for the very latest on immigration enforcement and the legal battle over National Guard deployment. You can find the latest updates right here, plus anytime at KGW.com and on our free TV streaming app, KGW+. Okay, let's take you outside now on this Wednesday night after another beautiful fall day in the Northwest with, it appears, another one just like that now on the way. Matt's here with a first look at your weather impact forecast. Hey there, Matt.
Hey, David. Yeah, it was a good one. Here's Timberline looking south towards Mount Jefferson. Some low clouds kind of flying around there, really not doing a whole lot left over from the low clouds, the fog and the overcast that we had this morning in Portland. This is the moon, which is about to set over the West Hills or to the southwest, depending on your point of view. It is a crescent moon. It's just kind of blowing out. The moon is so bright, blowing out the camera. So looks like a big old bright light, but it's a clear sky and 46 degrees. Humidity is coming up. It's at 83%. So far, the winds are calm, which means there'll be some fog around in the morning, or when you get farther away from the city, frost or fog in the morning. But if you're near the gorge, it'll be an east wind. You won't have either one of those. It'll be in the 40s. You'll see highs climbing to near 60 tomorrow with a mainly sunny day. However, we'll get some high clouds moving through at times throughout the day. Hey, tomorrow's sunset, 6 o'clock. Let's talk about that just a bit. It is our last 6 o'clock sunset of the year. And then, of course, we turn the clocks back on Sunday. So our first sunset of Pacific Standard Time, 4:55. By the 20th November, it's down to 4:35. And in a little over a month, we reach our earliest sunset of the year, 4:27. Just to depress you with the dark days of November and December that are on the way. Should be dry and breezy, though, tomorrow. And Halloween still looks dry, but that rain may come in just as trick-or-treaters are heading home. I'll have more on that later, David.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now. The father of a Lincoln County toddler who disappeared and was found dead has now been charged with child neglect. 2-year-old Dane Paulson went missing from his home in Siletz in March, sparking a massive 10-day search. His body was later found in the Siletz River. At the time, investigators said there was no foul play, but new court documents say Dane's father, Aaron Paulson, left him unattended long enough to put his safety at risk. Aaron is set to be arraigned next week. 2 new developments in the weekend fire that started in a southeast Portland shed and spread to the home of Portland City Councilor Candace Avalos. Police say they are now looking for a person who was in the area in the Mill Park neighborhood shortly before the fire sparked early Sunday morning. They released new video and say the person in it at the top of your screen there is not a suspect. They still want to speak with them about what they might have seen or heard. Authorities do not believe Avalos was targeted. And Governor Tina Kotek is declaring a 60-day food security emergency as the federal government shut down HALT SNAP benefits for some 750,000 Oregonians. The governor is also allocating $5 million to the state's food bank network and calling on Oregonians to donate or volunteer to help their neighbors in need. Kotek says the state's emergency response will keep food flowing to families through the holidays. Well, to Troutdale now, where yet another semi-truck crashed on the Stark Street Bridge, one of the only options across the Sandy River in the area, closing it for most of the day. Catherine Cook talked with crews about the reoccurring problem and what they think could fix it for good.
There are bridge closures, but in Troutdale, you call this thing on the Stark Street Bridge
Again.
a trigger.
Again. Yes.
More on why in a minute. First, enter the semi-truck. Around 11:30 Wednesday morning, Multnomah County Sheriff's deputies say the truck turned right onto the bridge, then crashed into this concrete wall. The impact launched a big chunk of stone facade down to the sandy riverbank and crumpled the pedestrian bridge fence. The driver wasn't hurt.
From witnesses' accounts, he was traveling at speed, didn't slow down for the turn.
Tyler Kunter with Multnomah County's road department says that happens a lot here. So many times, in fact, that last fall, the county closed the bridge for 6 months to repair sustained damage and restore structural integrity. They just reopened the bridge in March.
But now here we are today with another, gaping hole here. So.
For people who live and work in this community, the Stark Street Bridge closures and the crashes that cause them are more than an inconvenience.
It's a livelihood of our area. We need it, lifeblood. It really is. It's very important to be able to cross there, and it saves a lot of time.
We use it almost daily. Everybody does who lives in Corbett.
It's lost effort, it's revenue, it's costs.
Kunter says ideally trucks would be restricted from making right-hand turns onto the bridge, but it's not just up to Multnomah County. While they own the bridge, the state owns the highway, so they're working on a solution together. Kunter says it's just one example of why the county needs funding to maintain aging roads and bridges.
Ultimately, a new bridge here. This bridge was originally built when we had, Model T trucks. So.
Fortunately, crews say after this crash, the bridge is still structurally safe for vehicles. And after some repairs for pedestrian safety, they reopened it Wednesday night.
Yay! It did not look like that was going to be the case from the pictures that I saw.
And while they worry about the next one,
so in order to make this turn, trucks have to really slow down.
They'll cross that bridge,
swing wide,
when they get to it. In Troutdale, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
All right, speaking of the roads, a quick traffic alert for tomorrow when ODOT says it'll have what are called rolling slowdowns as crews do some work on our roadways. Starting as early as 7 and until 2 in the afternoon, you can expect slowdowns and lane closures on sections of I-5, I-405, I-84, and I-205. That's for scheduled graffiti cleanup. Meanwhile, on Highway 217 in Beaverton, crews will be performing emergency pothole repairs. You can check tripcheck.com for the latest on those slowdowns.